Monday, August 30th, 2021. Today on the Daily Review, we discuss 1999 Western Civil War film, romance, bromance, and some other mance. It's Ride with the Devil, directed by Ang Lee, starring Tobey Maguire, Skeet Ulrich, Jewel, and other people from the 90s. Today with your host, me, Joe LaRocca, and the Daily Review. It's funny, on IMDb, under storylines, they have little hot key, whatever they're called, hot terms. And the first one's Missouri Raid, then William Quantrill, and then the third one is laundry drying on a clothesline. The fourth one is movie flop. And the fifth one is reading a letter. You know that game, the IMDb game, where did I just make that up? I don't know. Where you read the person, the storyline. I don't even know what you call these, like plot bullets. and you try and guess the movie. But yeah, it's funny because there's only one shot of laundry drying on a clothesline. It is a pretty shot, but I was like, that's kind of strange. Nothing to do with the plot. Anyway, what the plot is Jack Rydell, played by Tobey Maguire, and Jack Bull Chiddles, played by Skeet Ulrich. They're friends in Missouri when the Civil War starts. And Jack Bull's dad is killed by Union soldiers, so the young men join the Bushwhackers, which were irregulars in the army, meaning they had no commander, kind of like guerrilla fighters, loyal to the South. In their group, though, strangely, is Daniel Holt, who's played by Jeffrey Wright, who is obviously a black dude, and he was made free by one of the dudes there, and it's obviously an interesting thing having a black man on your side when you're fighting for the South during the Civil War. That's what kind of leads you to go, oh, this is going to be like about the characters a bit more. And then throughout their, they join up with some other people, and John Rhys Meyers, who gives a kind of a crazy, awesome Batman villain-esque performance in this. They all join up and they do like bushwhacking missions against the Jayhawkers, who were pro-Union in Missouri, which is kind of like no man's land in Kansas and stuff, which is Lawrence, Kansas apparently was like the first northern town in that area, It was a Yankee invasion, they called it. And they built a school before they built a church. And that's how they knew, there's going to be a war. Anyway, it's kind of like an action war movie and a drama, a romance drama, and it's a little unbalanced. It was a flop. It did not gross very much. Everything about it looks good. It doesn't look cheap, although it is kind of small in comparison to something like Gettysburg or something. This isn't about the biggest battles of the Civil War or anything. I mean, really the only big Civil War event that happens is the raid on Lawrence, Kansas, which was a real event in 1858. That probably makes sense. I might be wrong about that. Jewel enters the picture. She's Sue Lee when for winter they kind of have to hide out. And she is a sympathizer who brings them food and eventually gets pregnant by Skeet Ulrich. And then Skeet Ulrich, he gets shot, changing many different things. He may live, he may die. Who knows? I won't spoil it. It's on Tubi for free. Tubi puts commercials in absolutely the most hysterical points. It's like they... It's like right before something amazing is about to happen that it like does it. It's like it's offset like 10 seconds. Like somebody planned, okay, well, after this big event, it would be good to put a commercial there. But it's like, it was like wrong by 10 seconds at least. I don't know, online. So like, it'd be like two people pointing guns at each other like, you motherfucker. And then it would go like, do your dogs like pet food? Yeah, they fucking like pet food, dude. You don't need to sell me pet food. Anyway, it's free. I guess you got to pay the bill somehow. Anyway, it's an Ang Lee movie who's one of the great journeyman directors, which means he can do... He's a prolific director without being an auteur. Like, you can watch a movie by him and not know that it's Ang Lee. Whereas you watch a Scorsese movie or a Coen Brothers movie or a Wes Anderson movie, within a frame or two, you're like, yep, I know who made this. Whereas Ang Lee kind of slithers in there and can make things like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon and things like The Ice Storm, which are like opposite ends of the spectrum in a lot of ways. And I really appreciate that there's not as many of those, and they don't get as much respect, Although I think, has he won an Academy Award, that Ang Lee? Maybe for the unfilmable, that movie he made, Life of Pi, right? I think maybe he got Best Director for that. I'll have to look that up. Sorry if I don't know. So really this movie is about the relationships, and it's kind of like an enjoyable hangout movie because there's the characters are really deep, and there's a good balance of plot and character, which I actually think Ang Lee usually does pretty well, and this might be his best example of it. He has some character movies like The Ice Storm and some more plot-based movies where... Actually, that's not necessarily true. He does generally do a pretty damn good job with characters as well. But that being said, something falls short here. Something feels a bit unbalanced. Tobey Maguire, it's a good performance. Everybody's actually good. Nobody stands out. I was like, uh-oh, Jewel, because she was a pop star, if you don't know. Who will save your soul? Is that her song? Or hers was, what if God was one of us, just a stranger on a bus, trying to make his way home. What was that song about? Anyway, she was cast because Ang Lee liked her, irregular teeth. Anyway, the whole cast looks like they're from an Anne Rice vampire novel, which is pretty cool. They'll have long hair and Victorian puffy shirts and stuff. Anyway, I think the most interesting storyline is Jeffrey Wright's storyline. There's a great scene where, quote unquote, his owner, although not really, gives him more bacon. It's the more bacon scene, as it's known in film school. No, I don't know. No, we never watched this in film school. Anyway, I love how they wear their USA buckles upside down. I love the union letter bag. At some point, they get a mail bag filled with letters from the union, and Tobey Maguire's character, who's really interesting because he's kind of meek and small and educated, but brave at the same time. So he's a pretty interesting character. Though nothing kind of pushes through, and I think it might be Tobey Maguire who can't. There's not his scene. Doesn't happen, in my opinion. I mean, he gets his scene. But I think a different actor might have been able to do it a bit better. Also, I heard that Tobey Maguire is a real a-hole. So we should judge him based on that. Anyway, certainly if you're into Civil War, this is more of a Cold Mountain Civil War movie than it is a Gettysburg Civil War movie. But interesting characters... certainly well made, well photographed, certainly, and an interesting time period and area of the Civil War that isn't discussed nearly as much as kind of the major stuff along the main route, the coastal route there. So, yeah, check it out. It definitely has some problems, but there's plenty of clothes drawing on the line if that's what you're into. What's going on here? Let's see what happens when I push this button. Oh, nothing. What happens when I push this button? Nothing. "91 weeks. All right, guys. Should totally like and subscribe. ain't right. It ain't wrong. It just is. Ride with the devil. Okay, like and subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Peace.